I'm Davina.
And I'm Annie.
And that's some kind of tropical bird. We're Mrs. and Mrs. C, and we're coming to you from the jungles of Costa Rica, which is where we've just rocked up with our suitcases for the foreseeable future. Yeah, I guess we'll start at the beginning. We met in a meetup. I was living in Manchester, you were living in Wales at the time, and the meetup was in Bristol, if you know the UK. We went for a meal first at a Caribbean restaurant. So yeah, we met, we had a quick chat about me chewing on mint. And then we went up to the boat party. And Dave,
Yeah.
you want to tell your side of the boat party?
So naturally, we finished the meal and we all kind of go over to the boat in Bristol. And what was it called? Thekla. Yeah, Thekla. And we went there and got a drink. And then there was this girl that I was sat next to at the meal who had just turned up from the Gloucester group and sat next to me, and we were talking, and pretty much that was it. And then we got to the boat party and then got a drink, and then she was talking to me again, and then she started dancing with me. Well, not with me, just kind of dancing.
I thought they were a couple. I was trying to work out, are they a couple? Are they not a couple?
Right. So you can see how she was trying to dance with me. Right. And then I look over to the side, and someone, naming no names, was kind of like, all this. So I was like,
I was doing what?
Yeah, you kind of did this whole eye thing, this whole come over here kind of thing with your eyes.
Okay.
And I was like, what? And so I was like, I mean, she's hot, right? So I was like, listen, you don't need to ask me twice. So I kind of like shimmied, you know how you like dance, and like shimmied over. And
it was that Maria by Wyclef and Santana was playing, to that kind of like Latin salsa kind of beat.
Yeah. And then ironically, we both know a little bit of salsa. So we were kind of salsaing together, only maybe literally inches apart, not that long, not that far apart.
Very PG.
It was very PG. We didn't even touch. We didn't actually even touch, did we?
Not that point.
Babe. That happened way after. But yeah, so we didn't even touch. We were just dancing, simple as that. And then you know how you kind of like drift off and then kind of like...
Hold up. So this is not even touch bit. So we were salsaing, and then my girl did this little move.
Namely, we drifted off, then we came back together again.
Okay.
And then, what did I do?
Down the side of my torso. I'm like, oh, okay then. Okay. So we're dancing. Gotcha.
But you were all with your hair, all like this, holding your hair up. So I was like, my girl's exposed her side. So I was just like running my fingers down your side. And yeah. And so then we kind of like drifted again, didn't we?
I went back to my group. You were with your friend, your new friend.
Yeah, my new friend. And then we kind of like, what happened then? Then
we just danced. The night was hot, so we kept dancing on and off.
Yeah.
And then towards the end of the night, you gave me like my little interview.
The interview. So I'm very goal orientated. So I was like, okay, so there's no point in me meeting someone and leading them on, or just doing a ting for just doing a ting's sake. Do you know what I mean? There's no point in that. So when I got together at this point with Davina on the dance floor, and I just said to her, so I said, how old are you? And what did you say?
I was like 43. I think, oh gosh, she's going to think I'm so old. And
I just turned around and said, you're a baby.
And I melted.
Because I was 46 at the time. And yeah, that melted you somehow, which fair play to me. And then I said, yeah, how old are you? I said, have you got any kids? And you said, yeah, you got 2.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay. I said, have you ever been with a woman before? And she said, yeah. And so I thought, hang on a second. So I was like, okay, so have you ever introduced a woman to your children before? And then she just went,
no.
And I was like, okay, then not to worry. You know, it is what it is. And then you piped up and said,
okay, so and so background to those questions, at the time I'd been going through a divorce, separated for nearly 3 years, and dated one other person, and I hadn't introduced them to my kids because I'd always said that I wasn't going to introduce anyone to my children unless it's the person I'm going to remarry. So that's why I hadn't introduced anyone to my kids. I wasn't dating a woman at the time, but that's not the point. No one was meeting my kids. But that wasn't the question she asked, so that wasn't the full answer that you got. And at the time as well, I had to wrap up some unfinished business. So I had been seeing someone, it was over, but no one had said it was over, and I'm not in the cheating game. So it was like, I have to end that before I agree to anything else. So all I knew was this was a beautiful night with an absolutely gorgeous woman, gorgeous spirit. And I felt like the energy was incredible, but I wasn't in a position to act on it. So when we were leaving the boat, I just literally turned around and said, I'll see you next lifetime, and then walked off. Like the whole kind of, I rushed off in case she said anything to change my mind, because the whole like Erykah Badu, next lifetime, because it's what am I supposed to do? So that was how it was. We left, no names, no numbers, no nothing. Just all we knew was that we had a wonderful night, just dancing. Our energies were out of this world, right? Yeah. Energy together was out of this world. The chemistry was just incredible. Not even a kiss. It was just a beautiful, beautiful, innocent night of like just the amazing energy that we had. Yeah. And
so I was basically, obviously it was in Bristol at the time. I was living in Southwest Wales, so I basically got obviously a hotel. I wasn't staying for the weekend, just literally the night just to see Trevor Nelson, and that was it. So I had a hotel, so I went back to the hotel that night, and I literally got back into my room, got my phone, saw that one of my best mates was online, clicked. I thought, okay, she's awake, brilliant. So I pressed the video button and videoed her, and she answered, and I was like, literally, I fell back on the bed with the phone up here, and I said, "You're not going to believe this." And she was like, "What?" I said, "I met my wife tonight." And she was like, "What?" She was like, "What's her name?" And I was like, "I don't know." She was like, "Oh gosh," is what happened.
That's what happened on her end. I went back to my hotel, just absolutely buzzing. I think it was about 4:00 in the morning by then, and just the whole day couldn't stop smiling. That whole day went past. I was out with my friends. We were exploring Bristol. I kept going on about these dimples and these eyes and this smile. And I didn't know her name. And then on the Sunday, we went for a Black History walking tour of the city. And it was just like a couple of tourists there, and then our group. And there's one other girl rocks up, and it's the same girl who was dancing with Annie on the Friday night. So she was there. I was like, wow, I'm going to get details. So I asked her, I plucked up the courage to ask her, what was her name? What's her number? And she helped me get in touch. So I ended up messaging you, and I was like, yeah, hi, it's me from the other night. Here's my number. Don't be a stranger. Oh my God, I can't believe I did that. I've never done that in my life. And I drove back that night, and you messaged me back. We messaged a few times and agreed to speak with each other on a video call at 10 a.m. the next day, which was Monday.
Yeah.
And dead on 10 a.m, both of us were like there on the call, on a WhatsApp call, and you told me what you were looking for.
Yeah. Again, I was very, very specific about what I wanted. I wanted someone that, knew themselves. These are all the things that in the past were things that were an issue, or things that I realized that I wanted or needed. And so I was just and at this point you really do know. And I'd sat down and I really thought about what I really wanted and what I needed in an ex-partner. And that's why I asked you all the questions I did, which was, and then told you what I wanted. I want someone who knows themselves, who knows what they want. I didn't want a girlfriend, in terms of let's just be nonchalant about a relationship. That is not what I wanted. I didn't want a situationship. I didn't want someone who was kind of finding their feet, which I'd had all these things before. People, oh, well, I'm not sure if I'm gay or not. I think I might be bisexual. That's great. And, I hope you find what you're looking for. But what I'm looking for is someone that knows themselves. And I wanted someone that wasn't going to be embarrassed or ashamed to be with me, or ashamed of who they were in terms of their sexuality, or anything else for that matter. I wanted someone who would openly be able to walk down the street with me, holding my hand and not feel away, you know, someone whose family knew, someone that wasn't shying away from, this is who I am. I'm not scared to bring up that conversation with my family and be, you know, be out. These are all the things that I wanted. Someone that had a growth mindset, someone who knew what they wanted, not even in terms of relationships, but in terms of life itself. You know, someone that actually sat down and thought about their own life and what they wanted out of it. Someone with a growth mindset, you know, someone that was kind, someone that was just gentle. You know, I wanted someone who, because again, a thing in the past was being with women that really felt like they just wanted to argue, would just want to argue or want to give you the silent treatment or just all these things, you know. And I wanted someone that was mature enough and, you know, wise enough to be able to, and intelligent enough to be able to sit down and have a conversation. You know, if there's conflict or is there something that needs discussing, we can sit down like two grown adults, two mature adults, and sit down and talk about the issue and come to, you know, a conclusion, you know, and be able to work things through, you know, not by shouting, not by getting angry, not by walking off, not by ignoring the issue, but by actually sitting down and sorting it out, you know, and finding a resolution. So again, not brushing it under the carpet, which again is something that I've known from the past that would happen. It just gets brushed under the carpet because someone's getting really emotional, and so, okay, let's just forget about it. Let's just pretend it never happened. I didn't want any of that. And that's why, and that was the reasons for me knowing what I wanted and telling you what I wanted. So I was being very transparent.
Very transparent.
In all fairness.
I left that conversation knowing that I'd met this beautiful person inside and out that was just amazing, and I had to have her in my life in any capacity I could have her. So had she not been available, I would have taken you in any which way as a friend or anything. I just had to have her in my life. And these were her conditions, that, you know, she wanted someone who was serious, someone who knew what they wanted, and I had one want, and that was her. So I mean, I've never dated a woman before, never had a relationship with a woman before. People don't know me in that capacity, but none of that mattered. All that mattered was that, you know, it was love at first sight. All that I knew is that I had to be with you. And if that entails holding hands in the street, then I'm a tactile person. I'm very happy to do that. So it seemed very reasonable to me. It made sense. It seemed reasonable. And as we went on with our messaging and our video messaging and our voice notes throughout over the next couple of days, it just got so intense, didn't it? And it was just, I mean, we look back at the messages and I'll share something. I'll share something that replays some of the voice notes from the very first days that we knew each other. And we were really talking about being in love by like the Tuesday night. But we weren't using those words as such, but we were expressing, like, you know, what we expect from each other in terms of a relationship, in terms of what love looks like. It was just beautiful. So, we won't go too much into the next part. We'll save it for another video. But long story short, that first week, we really got to know each other in our very intense long-distance relationship. And that weekend coming, Annie was at a festival called Shambhala, and she'd been looking forward to it all year, because it was the year before, and it was festival from like Thursday right through to the Monday. It was bank holiday weekend. And I was then supposed to deal with my unfinished business, which was dealt with on the Friday. And then so I let her know, you know, that's sorted. And she then said she was going to cut her things short, and she was going to cut her video short. Sorry, just a bit distracted at the moment. She was going to cut her trip short and just come see me. So she realised that I lived like 2 hours from the festival, and she you drove up to see me on the Sunday. I was so excited. I was so excited. Oh wow, thank you.
Oh, look at
Amazing.
this. Check this out.
Thank you very much. Wow, thank you. Okay, it's been handed.
So we're staying at an Airbnb at the moment, and it is incredible. It's insane. The landscape is just ridiculous, and the guy that runs it has just brought us over this. We'll show you in a second what he's just brought over.
Amazing.
There we go.
Thank you so much. Okay.
Gracias.
Gracias. Muchas gracias. Oh.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank
you.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Hang on a second. Oh.
I mean, can't make this up.
You cannot
It's
make
beautiful.
this
Cheers,
up.
baby.
Cheers, babe.
So yeah, sorry, Shambhala. She cut it short. Came to see me on the Sunday. You got there, desperate for a shower. In the shower,
You said something else then.
No, desperate for a shower. So you were in the shower. I like washed and dried her clothes for her. Made you
so
lunch.
cute. I
Made you
literally
lunch.
went in the shower, and I just left I just said, look, I need to wash these clothes. These clothes are like, I'm just coming from a festival. You know, they're a bit dirty, kind of thing. I said, you you okay to wash them for me or something, please? And Davina was like, yeah, and you did.
I did. I did.
She literally put the washing
dryer.
machine whilst I was in the shower. I came down, and I jest you not. You were cooking.
I was. So Annie's plant-based, and I have dabbled with plant-based diet for a number of years. So I'm not completely strict, but I do know about plant-based meals because I've experimented with that myself. And so I made her, I think it was like chickpea smash on sourdough toast or something, just a little snack.
But I think it was so posh. I mean, that just must be a tramp. I don't know why. But I was like, what? Yeah. I mean, what is this bread? It was just like
the chickpeas with a little mustard and something and some seasoning. And
I mean, seriously, I was well impressed. I was so impressed.
I was trying to impress. I'm not going to lie. I was trying to impress.
Yeah. But I must be honest though, Jay, if you remember this, but when I remember when you were preparing that. And in the kitchen at the time, you've kind of had a table, and there was like a bench on one side, and then and then chairs around the other sides. And so I sort of straddled the bench, and there was a book on the table, and just out of pure awkwardness, I kind of looked at the book. And I was like, "That's like a good book." And I just try and make conversation because I'm a bit awkward like that. And so I said, "This is a good book," and I said, "Oh yeah, I might get this."
And I said, that's all right. I can order it from Amazon for you, and it'll be with you. It'll be here by tomorrow. So, because she was planning to stay the night, so it'll be here by tomorrow. And
because I said this is like a good book. I'm going to have to read this. And then you said,
I'll order you one from Amazon.
I'll order you one from Amazon. It'll be here by tomorrow. And I turned around and I said, well, there's no point in that. There's no point in doing that, is there? There's no point in having two of them.
She's always already planning it. No point in having doubles. What's the point in us having double books when we're going to be together forever?
I mean, do you know what I mean? It says everything, doesn't it?
It does. So we spent a beautiful afternoon, evening, night that just blended together. We didn't even do the turn TV on, just listening to music, talking, bonding. and some part of the night, while we were like chilling on the sofa, the conversations around the difference. The first thing you asked me was,
yeah. About that.
So what's the difference between love and infatuation? So I want to ask you a question while I go to the toilet, and I just want you to think about it until I come back from the bathroom. I'm like, okay, just what's the difference between love and infatuation? And then she just left, and I was like, okay, how do I answer this? Because I feel like I'm in love. But I also know that I'm very infatuated. Like it's intertwined right now. So I can't remember what my answer was, but it was satisfactory. Because then probably about an hour later, you said...
I said, I'm not being funny. I said, but I really feel like I could marry you. And what did you say?
I feel the same. And to be fair, I knew that this was going to happen from the Monday, because don't forget, her first thing to me was... if we're going to do this, I'm looking for a wife. So to me, that was the proposal done, right? So I was like, I've already dealt with this question in my head. Like, you already told me we were getting married. What do you mean?
And so I was like, look, are you for real? Are you serious? And Davina was like, absolutely, yep. I was like, great. Well, then that's it. Let's do this. And we really did just do it, didn't we? Mm-hmm. Literally the following week.
We went ring shopping.
I said, come on. So Davina came to Wales, and I said, come on, let's go to Cardiff. Going to Cardiff and let's do some ring shopping.
Yeah.
We?
So we ended up doing ring shopping in Cardiff, in Manchester, in Birmingham, and then in the end we got our rings made. So we had bespoke rings made.
Yeah. And then literally that was, And then I moved in. This was about September.
That was like the first week in September, and then by the first weekend in October, you moved in.
Yeah, I moved to Manchester, in with Davina.
Yeah, and then we were married in January.
That's right.
We'll tell you about that another day. So that's literally how we met in a nutshell. How we became Mrs. and Mrs. C, and all the rest of it. So then, like I said, we got married in January, went on a mini moon to Fuerteventura. We then went on honeymoon to Cape Verde in the April. We moved to Cape Verde in the August, and we moved here to Costa Rica last week.
Yeah,
like last Friday. It's Thursday today.
Yeah,
and it's now February. Yeah,
February.
So yeah, it's been a whirlwind of different things have happened. You know, in that time we've had our disagreements, but not really. We've learned how to deal with our communication. So we've been together 24/7 in that time. So it might seem like we've only been married a year and only been together like a year and a half. We have been together 24/7. Neither of us work outside of the home. So I've always worked from home. So we literally are around each other day and night, which is quite intense. It would be quite intense for some relationships. So it means we've got to know each other on such a deep level.
Yeah.
And, you know, with that usually comes like cabin fever or whatever. We haven't had that, but we've had our ways of learning how to communicate with each other and how to deal with issues, how to improve on how we've dealt with issues.
Yeah.
How to know what things make each other sensitive, what things trigger each other, how to respectfully deal with each other's triggers and all that sort of stuff. So that's the kind of things that we will be talking about. We will be talking about communication style in couples. We will be talking about conflict resolution. We'll be talking about marriage, about the intimacy side of marriage, the ups and downs, all of it. I mean, we've been through, there's so much to tell you what we've been through in such a short period of time. And you can imagine with all the travel, what that brings. So yeah, you know, subscribe to the channel, follow us on Instagram, follow us on TikTok, you know, check out the website. We've even got like some merchandise on there, like just some pride stuff. It's not Mrs. and Mrs. C. It's just some black pride stuff, right? So for our fellow black lesbians out there, there's some beautiful things on there for you. And yeah, we've got webinars coming up and courses and all sorts of things. So just stick with us, join the mailing list on the website, subscribe to us below, and we'll be back with some more juicy stuff about what's happened to us and also some relationship stuff that might be able to help you.
Yeah.
So thanks for listening. Cheers from Costa Rica. And yeah, it's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure sharing our story with you. So thank you.
Cheers.
Adios.